Okay, let's say you want to put a gas port hole in your barrel because, like this one, there's no hole in it. But this one came with a hole in it. Well, if you happen to have one like this, you'd probably use it, or you could just measure. But you most likely won't have this one. And you're having the problem of, hey, there's no gas port hole. How do I get that in there? The best way to do it is to go ahead and get your barrel head spaced where you want it or need it inside of your trunnion. Now, you may already have it inside of your receiver, riveted in and everything, and then you're going to head space the barrel. That's fine, or you can do it right here. What you need are these two components on your barrel, basically where you need it to be. Like I said, if you want to go ahead and head space it with this right here, you can, or if it's in the receiver, it's going to be the same procedure regardless. Now, this one already has a hole in it, but we're going to act like it's like this one and doesn't have one. How do I figure out where that hole's got to be? Well, you got your gas block. Now this is a 74. Excuse me, a 47. 74 goes straight up and down, where the 47, like this one's, at an angle. This is the barrel originally. You can see how it's been drilled at an angle. Actually, it's actually drilled slightly crooked because they press that on, run a drill down through there and drill it, and that's how you get it in there. I've done a few like that before on a 47, where you just run the drill and let it guide, and be very, very careful. Don't put too much sideways. It can still veer off and end up drilling out of the side of your barrel. You don't want to do that. But say if you've got a 74 where you're going to be drilling a straight hole, basically just like this, 90 degrees, it's very simple. You're going to need a set of these calipers. You can get them at Home Depot and Lowe's, I think, or Harbor Freight. Doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be name brand or anything. Just get you a pair of these. These are a 6-inch. Now what you're going to do is use your gas tube. I put the handguard ring on just so the gas tube has something to sit on, so it's not sitting angled. So it's basically where it's going to be. You can lock it in place if you want to, if it'll stay. Some of them will, some of them won't. Yeah, that one will stay. Alright, there you go. Alright, now what? Well, we'll act like this is a 74. You're going to take it and you're just going to stick it in there, and then you're going to lay it on your barrel, just like that. Following me? Now what you're going to do is you're going to measure from the face of your barrel to the face of the gas block. Move this up here and frame a little better. Now obviously it can move around a little bit, but you want to try to keep it as close as possible. Just run it up there. Just try to get it close. That's roughly 4 inches, 305 thousandths. So you'd write that down. And you'd remove your gas block. And then you'll measure from the face of your gas block to where your hole is right there. Now on a 74, there'll be a hole on the bottom here where you'll be able to see it quite easily where you need to be. But the same goes with this 47 one here. You're just going to put it in here and kind of eyeball to where it looks like it's basically in the center. Remember, that's a slanted hole here. It will be easier on a 74. You just find your center, find out what that is. This is roughly about we'll say 390. You can just take that 390 and add it to your 4 inches, 305 thousandths, and that tells you then, once you do that, we'll just say it was 4,300. And then I had to add my, what was that? What did I say that was again? Roughly, we'll say it's 400. So this is just for reference. We'll say we measured all this together at 4,300. We measured that 4,300, then we measured this. We're going to add that together. And that's really all you got to do. Okay, 400, so 4,300 and 400 more. There's your 4,300, then 400 more, but the 4,700. And you just lock those in place. That would tell you where you need to drill. And you can mark it. Put a piece of tape up there, or whatever. Just something and just mark it. Or use what I have here, which is spring-loaded punch. Or use a normal punch after you get just whatever you use. Then mark it. And then I'll use this or just regular punch and a hammer or whatever. Make you a little mark on there. You might kind of put it together and eyeball it. Set on a 74. Makes it easier with the hole being in the bottom. But that's really all you've got to do. Because if you'll notice the hole, these things are over gassed to begin with, so they got a hole bigger than they really need. You see that huge chamfer going around it? Well, that's going to help. Even if you're a little forward or a little back or a little bit canted, it should still catch enough gas with that huge chamfer in there. Once you get it together, drill it, put it all together, then you can, stick your finger in one end, blow on the other end, you should feel air coming out. But that's all I do. I just stick that in there, let it lay across the barrel, measure from the face to the face, write that number down, and measure from the face to where you can eyeball and get that hole centered, add those together, and then put that measurement, that mark on that measurement you have. And that's all you got to do. And when you drill these, you're better off making sure you've got a light prick mark on there. Don't go over there and start drilling it, because if you hit this with the drill, it's going to go left or right. It's not going to drill in the middle. I guarantee you it's going to go left or right on you when you start drilling it. You'll need to put some kind of a prick mark on there to keep your drill from walking off. But that's all I do for finding out where I need to put my gas port hole in a barrel like this that doesn't have one. Okay, after measuring these two barrels here, they were both basically the exact same. This one here centered up about 4 inches, 650, and this one was roughly about 4 inches, 670. Of course, that's just by eyeballing that in the center there. You could be a little forward, a little back. Right now it's set on 4,700, which is where 4 inches, 700, which is what I said earlier, which would put it just a little bit past that. Because like I say, we were just kind of doing it rough guesstimation. So it's a little bit past. But your hole is still going to be half of this hole plus that chamfer right there. So even if you're a little bit off, that's what I was talking about, you should still catch enough gas. Both of these, here we'll put it on the 4,650. Roughly 4,650. Put it on the end. You can see it kind of centers itself up. Centers itself up on there. So that's close. Like I said, that big chamfer right there will make sure you catch enough gas.